Welcome back to the Charles B. Hayes Family Sculpture Park here on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. This is our most outward facing and certainly one of our most open parts of the Snipe Museum of Art. My name's Joe Becherer and I'm honored to serve as the director and curator of sculpture. Behind me is an extraordinary piece, really an ambassador for the collection, Tracery by Deborah Butterfield. Since the moment that this piece was placed outside, it's become a much beloved part of the permanent collection. Butterfield herself is certainly one of the most important and impressive sculptors working today. Let me take a step out of the way so you can understand and begin to appreciate Tracery and the work of Deborah Butterfield a little bit more in depth. Thank you. Let's start out with an overview looking at Tracery. What do you see? Twigs, branches, bowed, all put into the form of a horse. Horses are what Deborah Butterfield focuses on exclusively and has so for decades in her illustrious career. As a young person, she had a hard time deciding between becoming an artist or becoming a veterinarian. She started down the latter path, but then quickly transitioned into art. She combined her love of animals and her love of art very early in her career, and soon began to focus on horses as her primary subject. It eventually became her exclusive subject. For Butterfield, it's not just any horse, but it is a specific horse that she oftentimes honors. One that she may have owned, one that she's met, one that she's had an opportunity to come to understand, not just physically, but also in terms of its personality and emotion. Like Tracery, it's based on a specific creature. Taken a step further, it's important to note that Butterfield tends to focus on the mare. As she has said, the history of art has been full of workhorses and generals on horseback, and war hasn't gotten us very far. But in focusing on the mare, she's focusing on the life-giving forces of all things feminine. As an artist who came of age in the 1970s, her focus on the mare also had a connection to a very calm but very sure stance of feminism. She says she wasn't the type of person to protest, but through her art she could make a statement about the power of motherhood and the power of life-giving forces. This was also a period that witnessed our first major environmental movement. Butterfield began using found objects, bits and pieces of metal, discarded wood, and then eventually began to use branches and boughs and limbs, just like we think we see here in Tracery. It was a way of stepping away from the traditional materials of high art, of sculpture, such as those things carved in marble or cast in bronze, and brought our attention to the natural world in a creative way. However, as you take a good look at Tracery and you think about these individual boughs and branches, it's important to note that this is actually bronze. Midway through her career, as her popularity soared and as she welcomed in legions of individuals to become art lovers, Butterfield was constantly called upon to place pieces in the out of doors. However, something made with found objects, something made with discarded wood, something made with boughs and branches certainly wasn't going to hold up in the out of doors. So she had to come up with a way to translate those forms into something that could last in the snow, in the rain, in the heat, in the cold. Her process? Well, first she creates the initial horse, like Tracery, in the natural materials, in this instance, pieces of wood, sticks, boughs, branches. Once she comes up with something that she feels not only gives you a general shape of the horse, but something that comments on the personality of the horse, its gestures, for example. And she's satisfied. She meticulously numbers each one of those natural pieces. Molds are made, and then everything is very carefully translated into bronze. Once the bronze is made, it's reassembled and patinated, or the surface is colored to mimic the original color of the wood. In end, as you step away, you have in bronze something that preserves, for the purposes of permanence, for the purposes of the out of doors, something that was initially crafted in wood. Nature has been rendered more permanent. The horse has been celebrated in a highly unique way. Motherhood through the mare, nature through the suggestion of the natural materials are all captured for us to enjoy. It's a creative gesture that has welcomed legions of individuals into the art world, made many art lovers because of Butterfield's creativity, her imagination, and her hard work ethic. The final thing that I'll note is the title, Tracery. Tracery, as some of you know, is the element around stained glass windows, rose windows in particular, those stone elements which open up spaces for light to come through. That's what's happening here. This horse is not just about the boughs and branches, those solid elements that we see, but it's also about those elements which are open to light, to air, to wind, to snow, to rain, that makes the vibrancy of this piece as a part of an open air sculpture collection so important. Thank you very much. We hope to see you out here in the Hayes Family Sculpture Park soon.